got mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Edmond, your host for the next hour or so, along with Katie.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Good morning. I don't feel very tuned.
You are tuned.
I'm
good.
I'm trying to get tuned in a more
right.
frequency, just a little bit.
Gal is not going to be with us today, and Nick is still doing his political work, so he's not going to be here. But our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Again, I want to remind you again that this is a new format, 1 hour, but we do start right at 9. And we'll see how it goes.
Do we say every other word?
Yeah. We can. Yeah, that. The. Right. All right. So, what's been happening this week that is sticking in your mind first?
I'll update everybody on my 3D printing life.
Okay.
I had 2 really good sellout weekends where I posted some new products and they sold out. So, of course, you know what I did? I bought more printers. So I'm going from 6 printers to 10 printers. And
Jeez, Katie. Wow.
I know. Well,
okay, go ahead. Go ahead. And
so I bought some workbenches and I put them together a couple weeks ago, and they can hold 4 printers. So right now I have 6, and the way that they're set up in my room, each workbench has the 2 empty spaces underneath it. So I'm gonna put those 4 printers underneath that. But today, actually, for a while now, I've been looking for office spaces to rent, but you can't just like rent a small space.
nah.
It's like you gotta do like 8,000 square feet and all this other ridiculous stuff. But I actually got turned on to storage container spaces. Apparently there's some storage container places that also rent out offices, I guess. And so I found one for 330 square feet down the road from where I live. So I might take a look at that this
And
week.
it's air conditioned.
Yeah, it looks like an office. It's got AC and it has one big room, and then it also has like an office on the side. So that'd be good. I could set up my printers in the room, and then I can work from the office. So it'd be like remote working. I have to check to see how the internet is, because if the internet is not up to snuff, then I won't be able to
Yeah.
work there. And I really need to kind of stay on top of the 3D printers. Not that they require a ton of maintenance, but prints take like anywhere between 5 to 20 hours. And so you want to just kind of pay attention to see if they run into any difficulties, because then you just wasted a whole day of printing.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's the advantage to having it in my house, that I could just stop in there every now and then. But I'm running out of room.
Yeah, you may want to look into adding another room outside right next to the shop, or
Oh, best to go up 2 or 3 stories more.
Yeah, I'm gonna add another 2 floors to my house, and I'll
Yeah,
make it
right.
into a mega mansion.
yeah,
Or get a
it'll work.
one of those Comex, the shipping containers that go on
Did I
container
share
ships.
that? Did I share that with you guys? They actually had a 3D printer printing container box, and
Yes.
it had everything set up so that you could run your 3D printers. The problem is it was like $300,000. And at
Plus,
that price, I might as well get another house.
Yeah.
I've seen those. They do that for 3D printing and for Bitcoin
Yep, that's
mining.
exactly. I think that's what
Yeah.
it originally was for, Bitcoin mining, and then they
Yep.
swapped it out with 3D printers. And then it was funny because you spend all that money for that container, and it says 3D printers not included.
I learned about that because I heard about how they take capped gas wells out west that are not producing what the gas company needs, but it's more than enough gas to power a generator on
Mm,
site. So they'll take one of these self-contained things, drop it on the site, connect the gas to it, run the generators, and it's self-contained.
wow,
Yeah.
No.
nice. Yeah, so Bamboo is having their anniversary sale, and so I just was snapping up more printers, and now I'm just like, do I need more? Yes. Do I have the space? No.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for production, yeah, you do need more, and if you end up not needing, you can sell them.
Yeah, my goal
So,
business wise is to really have a big push for Halloween because a lot of the stuff I print is very Halloweeny.
hmm
And my busiest time was obviously the holiday season, and it's not even Halloween or Christmas yet, and I'm already selling out, and I can't even like keep up. I mean, I have to cap the orders, but uh, I can't leave it open and unlimited.
and school is going good.
Yeah,
Good.
school's fine. It wears me out though. I've got so much
That's
homework,
okay. That's all
so
right. Stop,
I'm not.
stop bitching.
No, I can bitch. That's the thing. Doing 2 full-time jobs and classes on the side. I've earned it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. There's nothing wrong
Yep.
with that.
But I'm not gonna be able to take any more programming classes next semester because all the programming classes are during the day and I have to work during the day. So looks like I'm taking a break for a semester, which is good because it's gonna be the busiest time for my 3D printing shop.
And
But
you
yeah,
can do it later.
yeah, totally. Yeah, so all the classes were like
Yep,
in the morning or at 10 a.m. and I'm like, nah, I actually have to work.
it'll work out. All right, listen to this. U.S. Surgeon General on last Monday called on Congress to require a tobacco style warning for visitors to social media platforms. In an op ed published in the New York Times, his name is Murthy, said the mental health crisis among young people is an urgent problem, with social media an important contributor. He said his vision of the warning includes language that would alert users to the potential mental health harms of the websites and apps. A Surgeon General warning label, which require congressional action, would regularly remind parents and adolescents that social media has not been proved safe. What do you think?
How
Ma-
sorry, go ahead, Spence.
Oh, I'm just going to say amazing. It's like you you understand there's a problem, but this is like a band-aid.
Yeah.
It's like, does it really work with cigarettes? Do people see the warning and quit? Oh, gee, yeah, no. I mean, well, it might work with some people, but it's it's not the root cause of why it's out there.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I hope it works if they do it.
I think I would think that it's a bad thing because parents may think, oh, okay, well, the kids will see it, so they will not do it.
Oh, well, then you have
And
then the people. If that's the case, then you have already stupid parents
oh, yeah, well,
who aren't going to make any difference anyway. Whatever
true.
you do.
That's
What
true.
did it
Well,
did it say how it was gonna warn people that it was gonna require I don't like
there's going to
require
they're not saying technically how they're going to do it, but obviously it's like the stuff. I mean, people that smoke, do they actually see the warning on the pack? I used to
well,
smoke
it
years and years
yeah,
ago.
it
Yeah.
depends it depends on the country. In Australia, I saw they it was either Australia or the UK. They actually require really gruesome pictures
Oh,
on the packaging. So the packaging's not allowed to advertise like the brand or whatever, and it was like lung cancer and like big warning things on it.
okay.
I think really I don't think this is a really big deal. It's kind of similar to what I think is like movies. When you watch a movie and at the beginning it'll say, this is a story, likeness to any characters is just coincidence or whatever. It's to stop them from getting like sued. And I feel like this could be like when you're on Facebook, there could be a disclaimer that says too much time on social media could have negative mental health. Protect yourself and your children. Like just as easy as that.
Yeah.
So I
We'll
don't think
have to
it's really
wait
a,
and
a
see how
big
the
deal.
It'll
well,
only be effective if it pops up and you have to hit something to make it disappear.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to cookies, right? Like when they changed the laws on cookies to where now you
Mhm.
go to a website and it has to pop up and tell you. I don't think this is really a big deal.
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's not this is just proposing.
Yeah.
So it's not there yet, and we'll see how it's being implemented. All right, we always talk about backups of how we need to do backups and
Which is what
people.
Backup.
I'm
What's a,
doing.
what's a backup?
Indonesian President Joko Widodo ordered on Friday an audit of government data centers after officials said the bulk of data affected by a recent ransomware cyber attack was not backed up,
Oh.
exposing the country's vulnerability to such attacks. Last week, the cyber attack, the worst in Indonesia in recent years, has disrupted multiple government services, including immigration and operation at major airports. The government has said more than 230 public agencies, including ministries, had been affected, but has refused to pay an $8 million ransom demand to retrieve the encrypted data. None of it, well, not, the bulk of it was not
Is
backed
this
up.
the
How?
Indonesia data center story? Was that where it happened? Indonesia?
It's amazing.
But was it
What?
was it Indonesia where it
Yeah,
happened? Yeah, I'm looking at the article
yeah.
here now. Yeah.
I mean, come on, you guys. No backup government?
I can tell you why it didn't happen. It's because it's expensive and they don't want to put the money into it. Because a lot of the stuff that like when I'm dealing with backups at work, it's like really slow and annoying and it's a pain in the butt, but you end up having to do it. And I can see if a company, or in this case a government, is trying to save money and they're like, who cares? I don't want to spend an extra whatever it is, $100,000, $200,000 on more servers to back up the data and then hire people to manage it and service it. So it
I
doesn't surprise me.
I can I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I'm sure they have IT departments in every ministry. Those people that come in and they have a network and all that, they don't know how to do that. Somebody is doing this.
Yeah,
And
but you still have to pay for the space, right? So like,
you still have to pay for the space, but look now. 8
no, I
million.
know. I think it's stupid, and I feel like every company slash government should have a backup system. But like, again, I'm not surprised that something like this happened when considering like just some crazy stories I hear about government officials like making decisions about stuff.
I mean, there is really no reason not to do backup. I mean, I don't go for the saving money because look, how much does it cost us to back up our computer?
No, but well,
60
backing
bucks a
up.
year?
No, it's for a company. A company, it's astronomically
No,
expensive.
wait. Hold it. It cost us $60 to back up our computer. The technology is there. It's not expensive technology. All they have to do is implement it on department wide thing. So they have a bunch of them, but it doesn't cost them much more. All it is the hardware, the
Well,
storage itself.
think
The
about it.
technology is there.
If you implement it like you would an individual user basis for each per machine, think about the internet load on that. You're sending it to offsite, where if you were doing it internally, if you have your own backup site,
Yeah.
you'd have a big pipe going to it. And
The hell
I
with a big pipe. Do it
No,
locally.
listen, you're making it sound a lot easier than it is, because
It is,
so
it is,
well,
Katie.
it's so expensive. Let me tell you why. Uh, on the company side, a company that I work for has around 500 employees.
Yeah.
They spend $100,000 a month on backup slash server slash data stuff. A
Well,
hundred
no, no,
thousand
don't.
dollars.
Okay, now don't mix it. I mean, yeah, servers,
Yeah, but
IT, and
we're
all
talking
that.
about a big government for a country. Like,
and it's
correct.
critical data.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could. This isn't as easy as just like backing up your
I
save
don't.
files.
I can't. I don't think that your company is spending 100,000
They are.
to back up. They
Well,
may be
they're spending
spending
100.
10,000, maybe 5,000 to back it up. I mean, the rest of it, yeah. But the structure is there. They have
Yeah,
the infrastructure. I hope. I mean, it's if they have people breaking in, you don't break into a single computer and steal the whole government thing. I mean, it's an
Well, it depends on whether
uh,
their systems are distributed or
I
consolidated.
know, I know, but I
So
mean, it seems like they didn't even think about it
I would
to
guess
say
that
that the bulk of it, and some of it is backed up, obviously, because they said the bulk of it is not. Ugh,
well, they just might have well, two things. They could either have extremely inept people
right.
who
I would say,
said we're implementing something and didn't, or they have um, a system that is not robust enough, that they weren't aware of something. They may have had a design that covers everything, but something happened along the way where incrementally over time the stuff stopped getting backed up, but nobody paid attention to the warnings.
right.
that's
So
probably what happened. I'm
And I
sure they
mean,
started out with everything working smoothly, and then just over the years they got complacent.
yeah,
in government, there's going to be a law saying it has to be done. So
look
somebody blew it.
look at all that's going on around the world. Don't tell me that those people in their IT department in Indonesia are not aware of all the
Oh yeah.
ransom and breaking and breaches and all that.
You know, if Nick was here though, he'd be like, "Yeah, but it's government. They don't
Yeah,
ever do
yeah,
anything the right way or the most efficient way."
yeah. It's.
I'm look
I'm really surprised. They need to listen to the show.
Yeah, let's get the
I'm
prime
looking at
minister of Indonesia on.
one of my favorite places to go every week is Bleeping Computer
Yeah.
because they'll have a good summary of stories and I don't get lost in outer space on stuff. But there's probably 8 stories here dated yesterday and today. D-Link exploit on their routers.
Mm-hmm.
Brain Cipher, new ransomware behind Indonesia data center
Mm-hmm.
attack. Um, BitLock stole data from 6 million people.
Yeah.
Giant American dairy giant says data breach exposed customer information. Ticketmaster, recent data breach.
Right.
TeamViewer, Russian cyber attack. Just down the line. And this is all just in the last day.
I know, and that's the thing is, if you're in IT and you're running the internet operations for any kind of office, especially for government, you keep yourself knowledgeable by reading these things and say, "Hey, this could happen to us." I mean, the first thing that comes to mind, "Hey, this can happen to me."
Yeah. And
But I don't know.
what about bad actors?
We'll
Here's
have
a
to wait
story.
and see. And
Bad
you,
actors.
yeah,
You've
and you
got
took,
this. It says an employee of a healthcare system in Pennsylvania. One employee, former IT employee, accessed over 1 million
yeah,
U.S. patients' data.
yeah, and they can, especially if they work there for a long time and they
Yeah,
set up back doors
backdoor.
and all. Yeah, yeah, it's a problem. I'm not saying it's not, but it can be remedied. And you
But
mentioned TeamViewer. So TeamViewer, the company that makes widely used remote access tools for companies, has confirmed an ongoing cyber attack on its corporate network. In a statement last Friday, the company attributed the compromise to government-backed hackers working for Russian intelligence. Uh, and I didn't know that TeamViewer was a German company. The Germany-based company said its investigation so far points to an initial intrusion on June 26th. So it's been going for some time. Um, these guys don't stop for a second. They keep on hitting and hitting and hitting. You know, it's like what's his name, Muhammad Ali. Just keep hitting different parts, different ways, and all. And if they did not make money, that wouldn't have happened, right?
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Oh,
That's Muhammad Ali. Yep.
but to go back to backups, eh, even at home, yeah, backups are important. You're doing your banking. You're doing uh, any kind. People do um, stock manipulation, not manipulation, stock trading, and all that. It's all on your computer. Now, yeah, a lot of that stuff is actually residing on the other side's server. When you go to your bank, you don't have the information right on your machine unless you download it. You're actually using the bank's remote access facility, so to speak. I mean, it's a lot more complicated than that. But you have passwords, you have emails, you have pictures. There's a lot of stuff. And you don't have to pay to have it stored somewhere else. It's a better way to do it like that, but it's not the only way. You can back up stuff locally. I mean, as simple as getting another
Hard
USB
drive?
drive
Yeah,
and drag your document folder to it every now and then.
that's
And
what I
most
do.
of them have great setup software that will automatically set up a backup routine for you
There
just by
are,
adding the
yeah,
software. And it
right.
will you and I have like 3 backups on this machine.
Yep.
And every morning when I turn it on, I get an acknowledgement from a toolkit, Seagate toolkit saying that my
Mhm.
data's backed up.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Spence turned me on to a program, I don't know what, 15 years ago?
yeah,
Second copy.
great program.
And any time you add a file, you change a file, you delete a file, it right away, we're not saying waiting. It goes and it updates that extra drive wherever you tell it to do it. You can put it in a folder on another drive. I mean, most of us now have multi computers at home. You can also tell it to go to another PC and back it up there, but you always have the latest thing sitting there. There are different ways to do backups. I agree, but at least this way you back up your data. The programs, unfortunately, you have to do a clone. You have to buy a program. I don't know that there's any cloning software that is free anymore. But if you clone the drive, that actually, it's just like the word, it clones it. And then you do a backup of the data. And unless you added another program or and programs cannot be moved from one machine to another. You have to install them. So the only way to restore a drive that was corrupted or was I don't want to get now into uh, compromised, but it was corrupted, is to install the operating system and install the programs and then install the data, unless you have a clone. Then you can just actually take that clone drive and stick it in the machine, but you'll be back where you were when you cloned it.
How do you feel about cloud-based backup?
Well, it's very important. Absolutely do it, but that costs money because you have to have a company that does it, or you have to develop your own, and not everybody is knows how to do their own.
Mhm.
But it's again, it all depends what you have. And it's not that expensive, Katie. It costs about 60, 70, $80 a year. A
I'm not talking
year.
about when I said expensive, I'm not talking about individually people or like a small home or a small business. I'm talking about like I said, when you're managing 500 individual
That
accounts and
is
500
that's yeah,
individual
that
backups.
I have no idea about this because I never dealt with such a thing, so I don't know.
And that's just 500 people. Like if you're talking about a government, you're probably talking about thousands.
Yeah, but remember, this is each office, each department, each whatever does it individually by the department. It's not like there is a pipe to the White House and it backs up the whole government. It's done piece by piece by piece. There's no reason to do a big thing. And piece by piece by piece, it altogether it's expensive. Yeah. And if you have a company, which one of these days maybe you will, it'll be great.
I do have a
And you have
company.
and you
It's
have
an
office
employee of one.
no, and you have offices all around the country. Today it'll cost you $60 to back up your machine at home. Tomorrow you open an office in Wilmington's. Now it's going to cost you $120. A lot of people also are being in at home, being very creative. Those companies will back up one computer. If you want two computers, it will cost you twice. But a lot of people, what they do if they have multiple computers on a network at home, let's say the husband is working and the wife is working, both working from home. What you do, what a lot of people do to save money is at night they copy a batch file, does it automatically, will copy the important files from one machine, from the second machine to that main machine that's already being backed up, put it in a folder called Katie, and then it backs it up to that account of that first computer. You add another computer, you do the same thing. You copy all the important files from that computer, the added computer, to that first computer that has a backup, and it backs it up.
And that's where a second copy would come in really handy
That,
because
absolutely.
you always have everything being fed to your machine. That's the backup to the cloud
Yep.
machine. So,
There are different ways to do it to save money, but the bottom line is backing up a computer or a network should not be you can't look at it as wow, it's too much of an expense or it's too much of a work because you have to think what's going to happen. Like, Katie, do you have health insurance?
I'm not I'm not saying
No,
that
no,
I think
no, no.
back
It's
no,
not. It's not.
I wanna move on from this conversation because the whole point was to say that I could see how a government would wanna save money. Not that it was the right decision,
Right,
but
but
I know the values of backing up.
no, no. But
I know.
we're talking here now to individuals who are listening to us. The story was about a government, which is really ridiculous. But we are trying to help people that are listening to us about backup, and a lot of people don't know it. That's why we're talking about those little things now. Don't get hang up on the government now.
I was
I
just
do I do
commenting
paper
on
I
the
do
article.
I do paper backups. I print everything and I have it in a big box.
Uh,
No problem.
And and talking about paper backups, you're laughing. You get a lot of, let's say, Microsoft Word. I mean, Microsoft Office license and Microsoft this license and this license and this license, and you have keys and all that. Everything comes in emails, correct? What happens if you
Usually.
lose the drive? What's wrong with printing? I do that.
I
Print
print
the
out every
page.
license. It's in a folder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. So if something happened, you have a folder with all the licenses and you pick it up. Okay, here's the number. Yep, got it.
I have a
So
suggestion too. A tool that Mike first brought up years ago, Bellark Advisor. Bellark Advisor is a tool that you use. It's mainly used by corporations, but what it does is it does a complete, thorough look at your machine and sees the entire configuration, licenses, network,
uh,
printers, devices, drivers, all that. And you can
everything.
put you
Yeah.
you run it and then you put it away.
Yep.
So if I make a change to a machine or if I work on a client's machine, I always run it before and after. That way I can say, all right, well, here's your Microsoft
Absolutely.
license, here's your Adobe license, all that, it all
And
finds it all.
that's a free program,
A free program for personal use.
which
Yes.
works great because this is when you're geared toward backups and toward, hey, something may happen. You do these things. That's why I was asking you if you have insurance. Hopefully, you'll never need it, but you do it just to be on the safe side.
Is there stupid insurance? If you're stupid,
Yes, you can literally get insurance for anything. I'm not kidding. I talked to somebody once that was trying to sell insurance or whatever, and I asked something like that, like, is there dumb insurance? And he went, you literally can get insurance for anything as long as the company's willing to pay it.
Well, Katie, you use Temu, right?
No,
Spence?
no.
Well, I
I
do.
know
I
I have used it, but I don't use it now.
yeah,
I use AliExpress.
I buy from Temu, but listen to this: Temu, the Chinese shopping app that has rapidly grown so popular in the U.S. that even Amazon is reportedly trying to copy it, is dangerous malware. That's
Shocker.
that's secretly monetizing a broad swath of unauthorized user data. That's coming from Arkansas Attorney General alleging in a lawsuit filed last Tuesday. Now, I use it and I'll keep on using it. There's only one thing that I don't do. I don't download their app.
Yep.
I do it through a browser or on my computer.
Yep. Yep.
And they try, boy do they try to get you to download the app.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same. AliExpress was doing that too. It's similar. It's like a Chinese. Actually, very similar to Temu.
Yeah, right.
They wanted me to download the app. I ended up downloading not AliExpress but Alibaba, and that one was specifically for manufacturers because I'll buy materials in bulk, and it's
Mhm.
just easier to have access to the communications app to talk to the manufacturers. But for Temu, I I never used it because in some instances, well, one, I didn't need anything that was on there per se, so I didn't really have a thing, but
That's fine. That's
they
good.
kept pushing it aggressively, and the stuff that I kind of thought about buying, I just assumed was too good to be true because it's something that normally would cost $10, and on Temu it was like $1, and I just knew that if I bought it, it's probably gonna be crap. And so it just wasn't worth it for me to buy it. But I know that you and other people have used it, and they think and it's been fine. But I just never found
A
a use
lot of
for
the
it.
stuff that's being sold on Amazon and on eBay is actually coming from Temu. The
Yeah,
people
and
buy it
Yeah.
there and then sell it over here. And I can
yeah,
understand that it's more expensive here because they have to pay for this and they have to pay for that. And I don't know. But the point is that you compare. And if you're a shopper, compare. Go to Amazon and look for that part. Go to eBay and look for that part. Go in general and look for that part. And then see if they have the same kind of stuff.
yeah,
Um, yeah, it's I will not buy anything from them, but a lot of the stuff works fine. All right. Um, if you've been mindlessly scrolling through streaming services and have been feeling even less enthused than usual, you may not be entirely to blame. Almost all major US streamers have been cutting their original TV output this year, according to new analysis from Variety. It's true. I mean, you go and you see that you read how they canceled this, they canceled that, they did this, they did away with that, and I guess they're doing it because of licenses, and they're doing it also because of stuff is just sitting there. Not many people see it, so let's get rid of it.
Is it sorry, did it say that it's canceling stuff or just no new stuff is being added?
But both.
Because I'm not surprised no new stuff's being added because we had the writer's strike that lasted really long
Yep,
time.
that
So
too.
that's like, I don't know what it was, like 9 months of no work. And so there's going to be a naturally there's going to be a gap in content to catch up.
Yeah, they were talking in the article about actually cutting back. That people are used to go there and just see that there's so much stuff, and suddenly, oh, nothing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that strike would absolutely will add to it. Yeah.
and it doesn't surprise me either. I feel like content is going to continue to dwindle because of everybody getting their own apps. And it's like I'm the biggest thing was like NBC, right? And so Netflix had the rights to The Office, like licensing rights,
Right.
and it had it for years. And then NBC was like, nope, we're gonna make our own streaming service, Peacock TV. And they removed or they didn't renew any of their contracts with Netflix, and who I guess it was only Netflix at the time. And they pulled all of their shows, and now you have to watch it on Peacock TV, I think. But
Uh,
I think there's also a growing effect from AI is that the content that's out there now is human developed mostly. And the new content coming that's going to be AI developed will be a lot cheaper. So they're letting things cancel now. They're not continuing with certain shows because they know what they'll cost. Like when they can produce a new show and it be half the production cost. So yeah, it's a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot to look at. You look at.
uh,
I think it's insane that you can go online, sit down there at night, and go to your TV, and you can't find anything you want to watch.
Well,
And it's a weird thing. I mean, there's just so much out there that I'm like, I don't really want to watch that. The stuff that
well,
I like is like I'll go through. We have a subscription to Acorn, which is like BritBox, which is British television. And there are certain shows we watch on that we really like, but they're only like 4 or 5, maybe 6 episode seasons. They're not long, like some, longer seasons. And we go through them. We've just finished one. We're actually in the 10th season of a New Zealand show, police procedural show that we really like. But now that it's over, we ought to wait a year if it comes back. We're not sure it's going to come back.
yeah.
what do you watch, Katie?
Right now I'm
No.
watching
Yeah.
House of the Dragons, but I don't really watch a lot. I read a lot. So the House of the Dragons has kept my attention. I'm gonna try that new show on Peacock. I actually subscribed to Peacock. They were running a deal where you can get a whole year for $20. So I did that, and I watch America's Got Talent. I don't really watch a lot of TV anymore. Well, not recently. I just really don't have the time. Uh, to sit down and get sucked into something. But uh, I don't know. A lot of it too is kind of like choices paralysis or whatever. It's like when you have a million things to look at, it's like you're hungry. You go to the fridge, you open it, and the fridge is full of stuff, but then you don't know what to pick, and so you don't end up picking anything. There's a term for it, choice paralysis, I think. And
Yeah.
so it's like I go to Netflix and there's all these things that I'm interested in watching, but it's just, do I want to sit down and dedicate a couple hours to watch something and it might not end up being good? And so I rather just go read a book that I know I'm going to enjoy.
I've been reading more lately too.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
reading a lot. Yeah, Kindle Unlimited. I just saw my streak on there. I'm up to like 31 days of reading in a row. And I just sit there and I'll read a couple chapters and then move on.
We were on our trip. We were gone for almost 3 weeks. And I watched television once, and it was because I was visiting my nephew, and he's showing us family videos. But I watched no television at all, none, no streaming,
Yeah.
none, nothing.
That's another thing too. I feel I've noticed that I'm on TikTok a lot. One, because I run my business off of TikTok. But two, when I have a moment to sit there and I want entertainment in video format, I either go and watch something on YouTube or I just scroll through TikTok for like 15, 20 minutes. And then that's my TV time. Like that's my video time. And I feel like when you only have so many hours in the day and you want to be entertained with a video format, not only is streaming services competing with other streaming services, they're
Mhm.
also competing with YouTube, Twitch, uh, TikTok, Instagram Reels. Like it's all under this bubble of video format entertaining, and that's where I've just been falling on the TikTok slash YouTube route more. Like I'll sit here and I'll watch like an hour of YouTube videos while I'm working on something versus where I used to watch, Netflix, put Netflix on in the background.
Yeah, I do the
Oh,
same. I have
good.
specific channels on YouTube that I subscribe to that are technical things. Like for example, I subscribe to a couple of people that cover SpaceX. I've
Mhm.
got a couple of mechanics that do show their project. It might be a 45-minute video about a car comes in and it has a certain problem, and they go through the whole thing,
Yep.
start to finish. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
Much more than some of these series that are available.
I watch a ton of
To
YouTube.
each his own, which is fine. There is content for anybody for anybody.
And then there's people that watch uh, people getting their toenails clipped.
Ugh, I hate those.
You talk.
I
There,
You're
there's
talking
a co-
about.
there's it started with one channel. Now there's
You're
multiple
talking
of them. There
about
are
reading.
pe- people that mow lawns for free.
okay, that's kind of cool.
It is
I
kind of,
I've seen
but
those
it is
videos.
captivating because they
Yeah.
speed it up. But every situation is different because they'll go and they'll see a house that has, it's overgrown, and they'll find out what the situation is, and if it's a shut-in person or a situation, he says, "I'll do it for free,"
Yeah.
and they build good favor with their customers. They have people that pay, but they also do a public service, and it's
Huh?
really pretty good. But there's so many of them now. Started out with one guy, and now there's all these people that do the same thing.
People always try to copy other people, which is fine as long as they do free for other people too. So that's
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And then
all
what
of them,
would what,
all of them seem sincere in that the fact that they want to do it for
You're
free.
talking about reading. There was a story also. The Internet Archive had to remove 500,000 books or
what?
copies, digital
Yeah.
books from their archive because they've been sued
Copyrighted?
by all kind
Huh.
of different organizations. 500,000.
Well, hopefully they had a backup.
No,
Well, they don't have.
well,
The
I'm
problem
sure.
is they don't have access to it because they don't know, they didn't pay the license fee. So they have
Yep.
stuff that's copyrighted on their server that they shouldn't have because they didn't get permission from the author or the owner.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's been running like this for years, and you can go. It's just like a library. You can go and check out a book. Um, and
You
yeah, they
want
did
you
they
want
did away with it.
you want to talk about the ultimate backup system
Go ahead.
for literature? Uh, now I don't. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I think the Library of Congress, each time a
Uh
book is
huh.
published, a copy of it goes to the Library of Congress, and so they have the ultimate backup of
But
books
can you?
published in the
But
U.S.
but can you go there and check out that book to
I have
read?
no
No.
idea. I know it's like
I don't
a
think.
I know it's a library, but I don't know. But I would love to go there and just I don't. Maybe in my mind, I'm thinking of like National Treasure or something. You like walk in and it's like floors and floors and floors of books.
Huh?
But you can typically people use it for research, and they'll go and find, like, I need to find this document from 1850 that was a contract or a deed or something like that, and they might be able to find it in the National Archives. But it's of significance to the government. And what is it, ISBN? Is it in a book? In
That's
English?
ISBN. That's just the number
the
used.
numbering. Yeah.
Yeah, for the code.
Yep. To identify
Yeah.
a publication. Yep.
Yep. Now, antivirus. There are all kind of different programs out there. Uh, Fortunately, Microsoft gives you Defender, which sits in the background. It is, in my opinion, it's the best thing right now. for a few years it's been, I mean, it used to be a problem, but today it's great. But there's also one called Kaspersky. The US government last week announced an unprecedented ban on selling Russian cybersecurity firm Kaspersky's software, citing national security concerns. The move, effective July 20th, has left American resellers confused and worried about its impact. Kaspersky can provide updates to existing customers until September 29th, after which the software effectiveness will diminish.
Ouch.
Kaspersky was a good program, and
Yeah.
I'm saying was. It may still be. It's a great program, and they had all kind of different utilities to do different things. And yes, they're Russian,
It
but
might be because they're just caught up in the anti-Russia thing.
maybe
So
it's possible, or maybe something was found that
found,
there
yeah.
really are.
Well, you
I
can
don't know.
you can bet that everything that comes out of China has hooks. Everything. It's just because anything developed within China has got the hooks of the government in it.
Mm.
And they can say just the amount of data that goes back to China
Yeah.
on a regular basis is
So
absolutely
I guess
incredible.
Russia is also now
Yeah.
kind of, and a lot of those uh, cyber, I mean, the ransom gangs are actually from Russia. Yeah.
Would you like to buy Russian software? Yes.
Spence, you went, so last trip you took, you went to,
Went to Maine.
no, before that.
Oh,
I mean, I'm talking
to
about
New
a cruise.
Zealand.
Cruise.
Oh, yeah, New Zealand.
Okay.
Uh,
Did you use your phone?
Yes.
Listen to this. Many American subscribers are unable to use their phones overseas because all three major U.S. carriers are experiencing outages. This is last week. According to the
Mm.
register, the outages have been ongoing for several hours and stem from third-party communication technology company Syniverse. So if you're traveling and you're on business and you use your phone and suddenly bam, it's down. This is a problem. I mean, look, we grew up. There was no such thing, right? It's fine. You could travel. I mean, who worried about? Today, you leave the house and you forgot your phone. Oh, gee, I'm going to go back to get it. I have to get it. It's amazing how we depend on those phones now, and if they don't work, it can be a big problem.
We
And to
we
have
used we had two access methods. One was where we could on a day-to-day basis use our carrier AT&T's international service
uh-huh.
in the port. But when you're on the ship, you have two options to connect. One is through the ship's built-in cellular network, which
Mhm.
is expensive, or you can just sign up for the internet plan and turn on IP calling
Mhm.
for your phone, in which case it worked great on the ship, even at sea. So we were connected. We paid for the internet plan for the first time. We actually paid for both of us for the entire cruise, and it was good because you can do texting, you can do phone calls, all that works, and it's because it's on Starlink now that it's so fast.
Yeah.
Amazing difference in the um, speed on the network on board the ship.
Yeah, but again, it can be a problem for, especially for
Yes,
business people traveling.
we see people working on the ship who bring their work with them, and you can see them in a room or some a lounge or whatever. They're just set up with their computer and they're having calls and doing they're on it. Just happen to be on a cruise, but they're working and they need connectivity.
S- Katie,
Yeah.
you're the youngest one here. When I say MTV, what do you think of?
MTV, the music
Yeah.
TV station
Well, it's, yeah, channel.
channel. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know, Spence. Did you know there was such thing as MTV News?
I've
Was
heard
it
of it.
music news?
Yeah.
I don't know. MTVnews.com has been shut down. The more than 2 decades worth of content no longer available. Content of on its sister site, CMT.com, seems to have met a similar fate. In 2023, MTV News was shuttered amid the financial woes of parent company Paramount Global. So apparently MTV was trying different. I mean, we used to watch it back, what was it? Geez, 80s?
You know, that's not surprising. MTV News, I think it was its own channel at one point, and because I think I seem to remember watching videos or clips,
Right.
especially on like YouTube and stuff, talking about the latest artists and stuff. Um, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. It's it's a mi- it's I don't want to say milestone. It's I mean MTV was a big thing.
Yeah. Well, the invention of YouTube, kind of,
Well,
I
that was
and
before you.
iTunes.
Yeah. That
I'm looking at the story here. It says Comedy Central, MTV News, CMT, TV Land Online Archives purged by Paramount Global.
yeah, I mean
So that's what happened to it. All this stuff is gone.
yeah. And they said that all the music is gone, everything is gone.
Wow.
It's amazing that something like this happens.
That that means I'm going to have to just sit in front of the TV with a blank screen.
So they
I don't
might
know
have
what I'm going to
canceled
do.
it. So they might have canceled it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with something new later on, like something different that incorporates it. Like, because usually a lot of these products, at one point they were strong enough to support themselves, but then it gets to the point where they get so diluted because there's so many competitors so that they can't support themselves, so they get absorbed. So like the product and branding gets shut down, but then you'll find out that maybe Paramount Plus has a MTV Music News section later on. And it's basically a reskinning of it, but it doesn't dedicate its own channel or own department per se. It's just like an offshoot of genre. That's usually what happens when things kind of like um decline in popularity, but there's still an audience for it. They'll just like put it under something else.
Well,
It's interesting.
maybe.
The complaints out there. You read this that perhaps the most significant loss for MTV News' vast hip hop related archives. That and its weekly Mixtape Monday column, which ran for nearly a decade in the 2000s and 2010s. I mean, this, my daughter's a choreographer. This is stuff that they use as resources
Hmm.
to go and wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All
What,
right.
what I mean,
Now,
I don't want to go into it anymore except to say what is Paramount doing and why? That's the question.
we don't
We
know.
don't
If we
know.
knew, we would probably be able.
Are they
Yeah,
going to reintroduce it somehow in another form?
just like Katie says, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
What they're probably gonna
You know,
do is they're probably going to put it on YouTube. They're because the thing with it is if they use a third party hosting site, then they don't have to pay for the storage, and then they can hire like a you put it underneath their social media manager department that just manages the uploads and stuff, but then they don't need a dedicated department to
Yeah.
process the video and do all that stuff. So that's probably what's gonna happen.
yeah. Then it's not MTV anymore, right? It's not.
No,
It
well,
loses the. Yeah, it's whatever is there is there.
they'll rebrand it.
They
Like
had.
it's not that the music news is gonna go away.
Uh, okay, now listen, and I have a request on this. Microsoft has quietly erased instructions for switching to a local account on Windows 11 from its official support website. The move took place between June 12th and June 17th, according to Tom's Hardware. The tech giant has been increasingly pushing users toward Microsoft account logins, citing benefits like enhanced security and cross-device syncing. While the option to use a local account still exists, this latest development suggests Microsoft is steering users away from it. Anybody has the instructions how to go from how to install Windows 11 with a local account
I,
versus
I had to do it, but it was a month and a half ago, and maybe it's changed now. It was extremely difficult. You
well,
can
they
do it,
took no,
but you
no,
have to
no. I'm talking about does anybody have the instructions how to do it?
how to do it.
I mean, because that's what they did. They deleted that page
The
of
post, yeah,
instructions how to do it.
yeah, it's out there. You can get it on Reddit and other places. In fact,
Oh
that's where
yeah,
I
that's
found it
right.
on
Okay.
Reddit. I found it on Reddit because it's it's out there.
Yeah,
But every time I do it, it's changed and made it even more difficult. And that's
yeah.
exactly right.
Well,
Because the customer I was installing it for had wanted nothing to do with having an online having had a Microsoft account, but didn't want to be logging into it.
okay.
So
So yeah,
made made it difficult to install some things. But
um you heard that car dealerships are having problems with their software.
yes,
They had it's still going on, and they said they're resorting to pen and pencil. I mean, pen and paper
there hasn't been an
to
oil change
do
anywhere in the last week.
it. So yeah, they're if you go to a dealership for service or to buy a new car or whatever, it will be a slow process. They're
Was that
also
was that an attack or was that just a failure with the vendor?
it's a problem with the uh, software
Yeah.
CDK. Um, Microsoft has made OneDrive
Slightly more.
slightly more annoying for
I
Windows
didn't know
11
it was
users.
possible to make it more annoying.
Quietly and without any announcement, the company changed Windows 11 initial setup so that it could turn on the automatic folder backup without asking for it. Now, those setting up new Windows computers the way Microsoft wants them to, in other words, connected to the internet and signed into Microsoft account, will get to their desktop with OneDrive already syncing stuff from folders like desktop pictures, documents, music, and videos. Um, it's not it's not bad unless you have a lot of space, then they start charging you. But it's annoying because a lot of the stuff that and Spence, you can talk about this when you go in to change configuration or to copy something. Suddenly, where is it? It's not here,
Yep.
and it is confusing. It's very confusing.
And at the same time, you'll go in and realize that the same configuration tools that were used in Windows XP are still in Windows 11. The same you can find in the control panel, those old apps are still there. They may
Oh,
not do what you want to do because they have Windows 11 when you set up Outlook goes in a different direction. You can still go
yep.
to the remember the old where you'd find all the different email configs, that list, and you could add new profiles.
Hmm.
That still exists, but it
Yeah.
won't work. It doesn't work together. It's there, but you can't. They're kind of separated from each other. But yeah, it's very confusing because you can
Yep.
find different ways to do the same thing.
Katie, why did you say more annoying?
Yeah, I
What
hate OneDrive.
experience you had with that? Can you
Like,
think?
yeah, well, so OneDrive is so annoying because, well, first of all, when I got my new computer, it automatically came installed and
Right.
everything started backing up on the OneDrive, which is really frustrating because I wanted it to just back up on my computer, not
Hmm.
OneDrive in the cloud. So it was all this frustrations trying to figure it out. I remember I talked about it on the show, and Gal was talking about this like way to go around it, and it was just like confusing. Eventually, I think I got it to where things were saving to my local computer and not to the OneDrive cloud. And then now my work is switching to using Office. And so they're getting us Office accounts or Microsoft accounts, whatever.
Mhm.
And so I was trying to uh so we use Google right now, and Google Cloud um gets put into our Explorer so that I can access the files from my Explorer and not have to download anything.
Mhm.
Um and so I was like, okay, well let me try to do my works OneDrive with this new thing because they're switching, and it won't connect. It keeps connecting to my personal one and not my work one. And I even had my computer where I was sharing it with IT at work, and I logged out of all my personal stuff with my OneDrive and only logged in with my work stuff, and it still wasn't connecting. It was only showing my personal one, and at the end of the day, we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
so
That's
it,
annoying.
and so I hate OneDrive, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's great. But my experience has been nothing but awful.
Yeah,
Well,
and a lot of people are like that.
just the fact that everything is aliased to OneDrive, you can turn off OneDrive, and you still, if you went and looked at the actual path to go to a folder, it says
The
OneDrive dot
right.
user dot, and it
And they
doesn't show
don't
you that
and they
when you go
don't
into
make it obvious.
no file manager. If you click there, it doesn't show you that path,
Yep.
the actual path. I tried to
Yeah.
erase it. I
I
tried to
don't know
do away.
why they're doing it like
I
this. I
couldn't
mean,
do it. I basically messed the machine up. I had to reinstall because I screwed up all the paths. It didn't work.
that's why it's a good thing now, anybody who's listening, when you install a new machine, when you get a new machine, before you go in and install anything, uninstall OneDrive. That's what I do. I go to the apps, OneDrive, uninstall. There's nothing on it. It's not configured to work yet. Do away with it and then start installing your stuff on it, and everything will be okay. Now,
And they'll drive you insane with
it'll
keep
come
asking you.
back. It'll come
Yeah.
back because I think Microsoft every update is reinstalling it kinda. And you have to keep up with, but from then I never seen a problem with doing that with the updating that it adds OneDrive again. It seems like from then on it's I'm fine. I'm just using the local machine. All right. Well, it's that time. It's been an hour. Do we want to go on or do we want to?
I do want to mention one thing about the Paramount thing. I did little more
Okay, go
research.
ahead.
They're already reprocessing that stuff available on Paramount Plus. So
Really?
that's their goal, is they're moving that content over. So now you have to have a subscription to see it.
See,
There it is.
they weren't. They're putting it underneath the umbrella.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
Okay.
You want to see the story, look at Hollywood Reporter has the breakdown of how they're
I
doing
mean,
it.
it's not like you didn't have to have a subscription before.
Right.
You still
It's
had to have a pres-
but
subscription,
it's a
but
cost saving move because they don't want to manage so many different sites.
it's a cost saving move for them, not for the user.
No, for them.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the people who go to those dedicated sites for the content are pissed off because,
Yeah.
well, where do I find it now? So they're restoring it back. Like
Now,
they said the
the
first two seasons of Comedy Central are now available on Paramount.
now
First, the last two seasons on
the
Paramount Plus.
nice thing though is it could maybe it will save money to users because before you had to have an MTV subscription and a, let's say, Comedy Central subscription because you couldn't
Yeah.
just go and do it for free. Maybe now, if it's going to be under their own account, you only have to have a Paramount subscription, and you can see all these at the same time. So
Let's
we'll
hope
we'll
so.
have to wait and see.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're using the same company that managed the Indonesian data center.
uh, That's good. That's a good ending to the show. All right, Katie, anything you wanted to add?
No, I'll let you guys know if I buy any more printers.
Is that a 3D printer behind you? Two of them? One of them?
No,
What
that's
is
just that's you talking about right here?
behind
That's it.
you? Between the two windows.
No, that's 3D printed stuff that I printed. It's just
No,
shelving.
turn around.
No, there's no 3D printer behind me.
Is that just a well, it looks like a rack.
It is. They're shelves. Well, they're bookshelves.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
storing 3D prints on there, not 3D printers.
Okay.
No, the printers would absolutely destroy those bookshelves.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like it's a narrow rack with
Yeah, I
equipment on
turned
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
a bookshelf.
All right,
And then
guys.
that's my
Well,
cat.
this went pretty good, pretty fast.
It's nice.
Yep. All right. So thanks, Katie. Thanks, Spence. And I guess that'll be it. So good morning also, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner, and change any same passwords where you use them. Also, use the 3-2-1-1-2-3 backup strategy. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily political points and talk and guests. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave to listen to him live, or you can go later on to nickcraig.com and listen to the recordings. And Nick and Brian also do the Infection Podcast, a gaming survival games podcast during the week. You need to go to infectionpodcast.com and see when the show that given week is going to be airing live on Twitch. Have a great week. Stay cool. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.